Well, good morning and welcome back to Cityline, from my home to yours. With me, I have two amazing individuals. I would even call them angels because they are here to talk about opening minds through art. And you'll find out what that is in just a moment. Please join me in welcoming Maria Holt. You are with Dementia Services. You are a program director. Welcome, Maria.
Thanks, Amanda. It's great to be here.
And well, it's great to have you here. And with us also, we have Laurie Arndt. You are our Dementia Services art instructor, and you have some beautiful art on behind you on the wall. Welcome, Laurie. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's get started. Maria, November is National Family Caregiver Appreciation Month. And so what are some of the activities planned to honor this month?
Well, in the Opening Minds Through Art program, we are providing a art making program for people with Alzheimer's and other dementias. And because this program would typically be offered in a community-based setting with volunteers working with the people with dementia in order to give their family caregivers a break, because of COVID and this being done in a virtual format right now, we are including our family caregivers in as the volunteers with our Opening Minds Through Art participants. So what it's doing for our family caregivers is really allowing them, while it's not a respite break in the truest sense of the word, it's allowing them a break from their regular day-to-day caregiving routine. And the caregivers that are participating in the art projects with their loved ones are reporting back to us that they're really enjoying that break, that different way of interacting with their people with dementia that are doing the art. And we do look forward to being able to honor those caregivers by providing them with a respite break once it's safe to be out in the community and offering the Opening Minds Through Art program in that manner.
Oh, sounds fabulous. So Opening Minds Through Art, Maria, sounds like, well, it is an interesting program. How did this get started and how does it operate when we are not socially distancing?
Sure. And we're really excited about this program. It's part of our greater Dementia Friendly Pierce County initiative, which is funded by a federal grant from the Administration for Community Living. And what Opening Minds Through Art, or OMA, is in its true fashion, is an intergenerational art making program for people with Alzheimer's and other dementias. It's an evidence research-based program. It was developed at Scripps Gerontology Center at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. And the mission of OMA is building bridges across age and cognitive barriers through art. So the philosophy about it is that people with dementia may have challenges in communication. They might not be able to find the right words, and some would become completely nonverbal. But they are still people who want and need to be able to express themselves. And the ability to be creative and use art for self-expression is something that remains in our brains and is retained even as other abilities are lost. So Opening Minds Through Art taps into those remaining strengths to help the participants, the people with dementia, to really be themselves. And a second piece of it, in addition, in its typical fashion, OMA pairs college-age volunteers who have been specifically trained in the Opening Minds Through Art techniques for communication and facilitation to work with the person with dementia and facilitate that art making process with their partner. And what that does is it encourages intergenerational relationships, which typically do become friendships. It also decreases the stigma around dementia for that younger generation.
Wow, that is impressive. I am sitting here with my eyes blown open thinking about these young college volunteers being trained to work alongside, and just what a beautiful generational gift that is being received on both sides of this. So, Maria, in your opinion, how does this help people living with dementia? And when I say people, I want you to talk about caregivers also. How does this program serve everybody involved?
Right, right. So research shows that making art has benefits for all of us. It can improve our mental health. It can improve our quality of life. It can even improve our physical health. And I'm talking about the arts in general, art making, and also theater and music and so on. And so people with dementia are often viewed from an illness-centered perspective. So a lot of times it'll focus on their losses and what they can no longer do. Opening Minds Through Art uses a person-centered approach. So really capitalizing on a person's strengths and remaining abilities instead. Due to their cognitive issues, people with dementia oftentimes are being told what they're going to do so much throughout the day. They lose so much of their decision-making ability. And that's partly where the caregivers come in. The caregivers are in charge of what they're going to cook that day and what they're going to eat, even suggesting what they're going to wear that day. What activities are they going to do? Because the person with dementia is no longer driving. So the caregiver's responsible for all of that. And so Opening Minds Through Art is allowing the person with dementia, the artist, to make choices and the projects that we do are designed to be failure free. This isn't your typical, paint the flower exactly like this or color within the lines thing. This is abstract art where the person with dementia is making choices about what their work of art is going to look like. And so what they end up with is not only a lovely piece of art, which you can see behind Laurie, there are some examples, but they're also ending up with a sense of self-worth and a sense of pride in what they did. And it reminds them maybe that they're not their disease, that they're still a person inside. And it has that same benefit for the caregiver. How wonderful to be able to see your loved one who has lost so much in so many ways really shine and really make something beautiful that maybe you can share. Maybe you can give it as a Christmas gift to a family member, So for the caregiver as well, I think there's just really that sense of well-being and that sense of, wow, my loved one is really still in there.
Oh, I love how you said that. So, Miss Laurie, you've been sitting over there so patient. And so now I want to chat with you, and I want to start with what types of projects are people doing? And I also want you to talk about the art behind you on the wall because it is breathtaking.
Thank you. Yes, the art that we do with OMA, like Maria said, is failure free. We use abstract art. Oftentimes the art that's done in like long-term care facilities is infantile art. It's childish, and the person with dementia may do something like that seems easy, like just coloring, but they can't color in the lines anymore. And they may look at that and say, wow, I could do this as a 5-year-old and I can't do it now. I'm worthless. But with OMA art, we use the abstract art, and there's no wrong answers. There's no wrong placements. Each art comes out unique. No two projects look the same. Even if we're doing the same art project, each person comes out with a totally different artwork. Like last week, we did an art called bubble wrap painting. And we had one project that was named Raking Leaves. And we title our work at the end of each session. And one artist says, theirs look like raking leaves. Another artist, he is nonverbal. And this is the beauty of the program of doing it on Zoom, is that the rest of us looked at it. And one of the other artists looked at it and said, oh, that looks like Greek columns. And so his caregiver said, oh, you're right. So we named that Greek columns. And then still another one was named a different title. So it's just beautiful. And that's what, like this one back here, this is our stained glass painting. And each painting is multi-layered. So we may use acrylic paints, watercolor paints. We use different items to put textures on, brayers and sponges and bubble wrap and that. And it excites not only the artist, but the caregiver too. We have one caregiver who in this current session, she looks at it and she goes, oh, this is fun. I'm going to do it too. And that's why we provide enough art supplies for both the artist and the caregiver. And these art supplies are free. They don't pay anything. We deliver it to their home. And all the artists are quality. All the artist supplies are quality supplies. They're not childish, they're adults, because these are adults that we're working with.
You have beautifully answered all the questions my heart had about how do we do this? Where do we get the supplies? I do want to ask, is there a charge for the supplies?
No, there is not. This is all free. And I really hope through this program that we get more people and our classes are just overflowing for people. Because like in our last session, one of the beautiful things that came out of it is we had this caregiver who was new to helping his client, and they were not having any positive interactions. They were not clicking at all. They joined this program, and the caregiver loved art. He'd never tried any art. He was so excited about, and his excitement then carried over into his client's excitement. The client came to each session a little bit reticent about it. He wasn't so sure about joining in. But at the end, one of the beautiful ones is he looked at it and it reminded him of his truck driving job. And we talked about and had reminisced about his truck driving job. So this was the first positive interaction that this caregiver and his client had. And they are really looking forward to joining us again for our January session.
I love that. So I want to ask you, Laurie, what happens to the art that's created? I see the beautiful installation behind you, but what happens to that art that they create in their home?
So each week they're provided with a mat, and our current mats are black on one side and white on the other. And so the artist gets to look at their finished painting. We right then place the mat on it, and they can decide do they want to use the black mat or the white mat. And it's amazing when you take a piece of paper that you have painted on, place a mat on it, and then it changes from just a painting to, wow, this is artwork. Every time we did this, our last session, one of the caregivers would go, oh, wow, this is beautiful. And then that's what it does. It really makes it pop out. And so then the artists are then hang them up on their walls, but also at the end of the session for the virtual sessions, we will professionally mat and frame one of their favorite pieces. And then that is something that they can either give to someone else or not. We're also working on doing a virtual show because in the community-based OMA, we do a gallery showing of pieces of art from the participants. Now in the community-based OMA, there are more participants and the sessions are longer. So we have more pieces of art to showcase. And I think we're going to work on for beginning next year of combining some of our sessions of artists and do some sort of a virtual art show that maybe the public would be able to view also. Because then this is a good education tool also for the public to see the creative capacities that people with dementia do retain.
Well, we look forward to that virtual art show, and I know I certainly would tune in for it. Unfortunately, our time goes so quickly here on Cityline. We could talk about this for an hour. Maria, we have been showing the website. Is that the best way for our audience and our caregivers to get more information about this great program?
Yeah, as Laurie said, we do have another session of OMA starting January 7th. We are recruiting for it. And of course, we are happy to talk about any of our dementia-friendly initiatives. So yes, the website, dementiafriendlypc.org, or you can email Wendy Morris, our program manager, or myself at dementiaservices@lcsnw.org.
Thank you to both of you for being here today and for what you are doing for our most precious and most sacred elders in our population. And I want both of you to stay safe and also have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Amanda. You do too.
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. We have much more to come on Cityline, so don't go away. We'll be right back.